What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And my guest today is the lovely and sparkling and healthy and vivacious Yvonne Kohsel. Hello, Yvonne.
Hello, Gary. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my mom's name too, so I figured, well, why not? Why not bring another Yvonne into the... You're not a Capricorn, are you?
No, I'm Sagittarius.
Oh, a Saggy. Oh, this would be fun. I love Saggies. Saggies are awesome. All right, well, cool. So, Yvonne, if it's okay with you, I'm going to read your bio
Mhm.
and then we'll hop in and have some fun.
Great. Wonderful.
Cool biz. So, Yvonne Kohsel, holistic and culinary nutritionist, fitness expert, and public speaker. Yvonne Kohsel brings over 30 years of expertise to the wellness industry as a holistic and culinary nutritionist, fitness expert, and dynamic public speaker. Her passion is helping individuals transform their lives by making movement and healthy eating irresistible, joyful habits that last a lifetime. Yvonne's career spans corporate wellness programs where she developed innovative strategies to improve health in the workplace and entrepreneurial ventures, including owning a thriving fitness studio in Laguna Beach for 7 years. There, she offered classes in rowing, cycling, Pilates, yoga, and TRX, empowering clients to build strength, balance, and resilience, both physically and mentally. As a wellness advocate, Yvonne blends her love for fitness and culinary arts to inspire lasting transformation. She has helped countless individuals discover the power of nourishing their bodies with delicious, nutrient packed meals and embracing movement as a source of joy. Her mission is to guide others to vibrant health and vitality, proving that wellness is a journey worth falling in love with. Oh, heck yeah. And by the way, everybody, she started at 3. She was 3 years old when she started this 30 years ago. So she's like 34 right now. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome. I love your topic. I love health, nutrition, and all that yummy good stuff.
Me too.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, because we are the What If You Could podcast, I have one question written down on my sheet. And my question is always, what if you could? Do you have a what if you could moment? Do you have a what if you could thought for people? Or what would be your what if you could?
My what if you could for your listeners is what if you could love the process as much as the results? Too often we fixate on the end goal, losing weight, removing sugar, or gaining muscle, or quitting alcohol without appreciating the steps that it takes to get there. So, like, what if you could fall in love with the journey? So imagine every meal, every healthy meal, every workout, every moment of self-care and self-reflection becoming a celebration of what your mind and body is capable of achieving. The real magic isn't just transforming into the person who gets there. So, what if this year you decided to embrace the process, to find your joy in the victories and discover that the journey is just as rewarding as the results, because we just want to jump there, but you really have to enjoy those everyday moments and celebrate those achievements to get there, because you didn't get here overnight, so you're not going to get to where you want to go to overnight.
I love that. And that's a great what if you could. And the truth of the matter is, people, I think, like you said, I mean, we live in an instantaneous society, right? I mean, it's like everything has to be, if you don't get replied to a text in 30 seconds, you're all ticked off. I mean, microwaves, I mean, everything instantaneous. And people, now we're jabbing ourselves with another miracle drug, like we had over the years to lose weight, I guess. Ospalacopic. You know the name of this thing people are jabbing themselves with?
Ozempic?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's like we're always looking for this magic bullet, but hey, you didn't get 60 pounds overweight yesterday, right?
Right. And I think with, when I'm launching my first program, it's a 30-day reset to mind, body, and most importantly, habits. So, like Mr. Alexander said, people don't decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. So it's really important, like what's that one thing that's holding you back? And then decide on moving forward. And when you decide on something, that actually the word decide is Latin for killing off every other possibility. So, priority is one. So when you're thinking of New Year's goals, resolutions, decide on one thing. What is that one habit that you can change? And we all have it. We all know what it is, that one thing that's holding us back. So really acknowledge that and see how you can, gather knowledge around that so that you can move forward and break that habit and establish new ones.
What about those of us who have like a lot of things holding us back?
You want to share, Gary?
We don't have that much time, all right?
Oh,
We don't have that much time.
well, like
So on your, yes, usually there we all know, right? That one thing that really is holding us back. I mean, we could blame a lot of stuff, but a lot of time we know what that one thing is. How do you help us find, or how do you help us face that one thing?
I think, if you're not assessing, you're guessing, and really sit down in a quiet space and, look back in the years and say, what is that thing that's holding me back from getting to where my goal is? Whether it's not prioritizing sleep, choosing unhealthy relationships, cognitive dissonance is a big issue. We want to do the right thing, but then, our subconscious rules everything. So coming to terms with what that is for you. And I think, for me, I talk about sleep all the time. I love sleep. And it's really the foundation. It's Mother Nature's vaccine. And if you can really prioritize and gain a good night's sleep, then everything else is you're ready and set to take on that day. But if you don't have enough sleep, that messes with our hormones. You're going to be more hungry. You're going to be tired, more irritable. So it snowballs from there. So let's just look at that one thing and then see how we can move on.
You know, we have a family curse in my family that we don't sleep. My wife lays down and then she's just dead for like 8 hours. I mean, I put a mirror under her nose and there's not even condensation. She's so out. It's like it doesn't even move. So she's blessed that way. But those of us who are cursed that can't sleep, how do you alter you? I mean, how do you find sleep? How do you get sleep?
So sleep hygiene is really important. And I have a lot of
Wait, 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 wait. What was that?
sleep hygiene.
Sleep hygiene? All
So,
right. What
focus.
is, explain me, Lucy, what's sleep hygiene?
Okay. So what are your habits around sleep? Sleep, a good night's sleep starts first thing in the morning. Did you know that? So
I
when
didn't, well, considering I haven't slept all night, yeah, that for me, that happens all the time.
So the most important thing you can do to promote a good night's sleep is get that first sunlight in the morning. Get the sunshine in your eyes. So take off the sunglasses and let that sun shine in. If you're driving around, a lot of the times our windows are coated with UV protection. So crack the windows so the rays can be bouncing around. So that's the first thing in the morning, I go outside and I let that sun come in. And I walk around my neighborhood and I see all my neighbors wearing their sunglasses, and I just, it pains me to see that. So get the sunlight first thing in the morning, and then you want to, start winding down your day. Like the two every hour before midnight is worth double to you in terms of hormones. So you're better off going to bed like from 10 until 5.
Would you please repeat that? Every do what? Say what?
Every hour you get to bed before midnight is worth a double to you. And that's because we have that circadian rhythm. You,
Every hour before midnight. Okay.
so you're better off sleeping instead of like 1 to 6 or 1 to 7, you're better off sleeping from 10 till 5.
Mhm. Yes.
So, when you think about the time that you want to go to bed and you want to start turning the lights off. So if you're watching TV at nighttime, you want to really have a really dark room. I have no screens in the bedroom. I say the bedroom is for two things. They both start with S. I did a presentation. I did
Sleep
a
and snoring for you sickos out there. Sleep and snoring.
And then one fellow said snacks. And I said, okay,
Snacks.
you
Yes. No
below.
snacking in bed. No snacking in bed. No pets in bed either. No pets
Oh,
and no
that's a
snacks.
tough one. I'm guilty of that. So, when it comes to electronics, distance is your friend because these give off electromagnetic fields, so EMFs. And I also talk about the wireless elephant in the room. So these can disrupt not only our health, well, especially our sleep. So you don't want to have any electronics in the bedroom. This is called a safe sleeve. I have one for my phone and my laptop, and it cuts the EMFs about 97%. So I can talk on the phone with the safe sleeve and not get the EMFs. And at nighttime, if you don't have a safe sleeve, put your phone on sleep mode. The alarm will still ring. So have that sleep mode on. And then make sure your room is as dark as possible. And you can sleep in, now that in the desert it's cool at nighttime, you want that room between 68 and 69 degrees, and you want to sleep naked, ideally. So
Always. Yeah.
that's the rules for in the room. You want to, not have any caffeine or alcohol, 4 or 5 hours before bed, and try not to eat 2 or 3 hours before bed.
Mhm. I think I'm a fresh air guy. I'm love fresh air. I mean, so unless it's really freaking cold, we have or really really hot because we live in the desert. We have our windows, sliding glass door open, windows open in the bedroom. Definitely sleeping naked because your just body needs to be off of all that stuff. I turn my phone off. I don't like to have my phone on because since I don't sleep, I hear every ping, bling, everything, right? So, um, but the mind, all that stuff works great. But I mean, how do you shut off your mind? I mean, do you have any nutritional help for how I can shut my mind off and let that sleep?
Yes. And that's a challenging one for me too. We all have stuff going on. And I really, because been going to Susan Dunn's breathwork class, I revert back to that breathing technique. Before I go to sleep, I ask myself three questions. What am I grateful for? Who have I helped today? And who's helped me? And if I can't answer the third one, I go back to the middle question. And what you appreciate keeps appreciating. So I definitely do not watch any news or any, horror shows from the news before bed, because what you see 20 minutes before you sleep, that's going to affect your sleep too. So if you can, read something positive, and then just, ask yourself what you're grateful for, and really honor the fact that this is your time. Like, you have helped so many people during the day, and this is your time, your 8 hours to just be by yourself and to get that needed sleep. And if that mind won't shut off, I have a notepad next to the bed, and I'll just write those thoughts down. I can't do anything about it tonight, so I'll do it in the morning. So it's just doesn't come. It's being consistent and establishing that habit. Like, I'm safeguarding my sleep. And it takes a little bit of time, but then you get into a routine.
Talk to me about your 30-day program. What you mentioned you're starting or redoing a 30-day program?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about launching this program. It's my first ever. It's kind of what I've learned in the past 30 years that's helped me to fast track everybody else. And it's, being held accountable. So the first week is about, foundation and motivation. Every day you'll receive a 10-minute a 10-minute stretch and core session to get your day started. And then there's
Did you say stretch, and core?
yeah, so core
Love it.
strengthening.
Yep.
So you can roll out of bed on the ground and then start your day with me. It
So
is
you make it easy. Basically, just got to fall on the ground and start stretching and
right,
working your core.
right.
Can't get
And
easier than that.
yes, exactly. And then I offer each day is a different health talk. So the first week we do the foundation and motivation. So establishing your why. And then the power of journaling, we go into like how self-acceptance is a prerequisite for change, and how you're stronger than your excuses. And then talking about cognitive dissonance, and identifying your triggers, anticipating unexpected triggers, and then committing to your decision. So those are like the topics of the first week. And then every day I offer a 10-minute guided meditation to kind of solidify those topics in the mind.
Nice. Now, is this like an app or something like that? Is that what this is, or how do we get this? How do we receive this every
Yeah,
day?
so we can send the link in your notes. People can also email me, where it commences January 5th, because Sunday is actually the best day to start a program. So we're starting
Really? Well, I guess because Monday's already booked, so Sunday would be a
have
logical.
time to prepare and get ready for the week. So that's why Sunday is like the best day to do it.
So, is this a 30-day program? Is it 5 days a week or is it 7 days a week? Every day for 30 days, you get something.
Every day for 30 days, you get something. And then week 2, we dive into alcohol, because a lot of people want to do, a dry or damp January. And whether it's alcohol or food that's no longer serving you, or maybe people in your life, I think once you better understand what's going on, and for example, for sugar, how toxic it is for your body. If you want to age faster than anybody in your neighborhood, then keep the insulin levels up. Like, insulin is the hormone of aging. So once you educate yourself on why it's not good, you tend not to want that. And that really helps my clients. So we look into how alcohol impacts our body, how it affects our emotions, how it affects our sleep. I have an Aura ring that tracks my sleep. And if I have alcohol the night before, my resting heart rate is elevated, my body temperature is elevated, my REM sleep is shot. Then I don't have alcohol. I have my good night tea. All those numbers are great. So it really makes a difference if you can assess what's going on with your sleep. We talk about sugar, like unmasking sugar, alternatives to sugar, and where the hidden sugars are, and how much sugar is acceptable. Like, men can have 9 teaspoons of sugar a day, and then women 6 teaspoons. Well, what does that look like?
Nine teaspoons a day for men and six for women.
Right.
So basically, we can't eat anything canned, processed, jarred, or anything because it
Well,
has
there's
so
a
much
lot
more
of
than that, right?
hidden sugars, especially in condiments.
Yeah.
So, we look at food labels. So if you're looking at a food label and you see total sugars, there's 4 grams of sugar per teaspoon. So you take that total sugars, divide it by 4, and that's how many teaspoons of sugar there are. So in like a can of soda pop, there could be, I think, 9 teaspoons of sugar just alone in that. If you're going into a coffee shop and getting that healthy muffin that doesn't really exist, there could be 12 teaspoons of sugar in that banana muffin or that grain muffin. So really understanding where it's coming from, knowing your limits, and then, cooking at home. What does that look like? And how you can make delicious meals for the whole family. And they don't realize that the sugar's cut out, and your taste buds gradually change too. There's a new product out there from Kaizen Foods, and it's a pasta. I know pasta is really popular for people, but a lot of carbohydrates. So this pasta is actually made from the lupin bean that comes from Australia, and each serving has 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber, and only 6 grams of net carbs versus 35 grams per serving. So I educate people on how you can substitute and swap out items. So you're not really missing out. You're going to be satiated, and you're not going to miss those foods anymore. And you're going to
Yeah.
feel
I told my kids ever since they were little, sugar equals death. No sodas in the house, not a bunch of sweets, not a bunch of crap. Sugar is going to, you know, you're only going to be 3 feet. You're only going to go to 3 feet tall if you eat sugar. All right. I lied to my kids, but you had to scare them into like getting
whatever
off of
gets
that crap because
really
sugar's
breaks up.
well, it's so brutally addictive and it's so bad for every part of your body.
Mhm.
It really is brutal and it's in everything. I mean, ketchup and spaghetti sauce. I mean, stuff that you wouldn't think there's
Mhm.
tons of sugar. There is tons of sugar and it's just so toxic. I was talking to a friend. I'm like, why don't we just eat food that doesn't have a label? I mean, we should read labels and we should look at labels. They're so confusing, but why don't we just eat food that doesn't have a label like fruits, vegetables, proteins, meats, whatever, fish. There's no label on them. You know what they are
Right.
without looking at them, right? I mean, we just have to kind of pull back from all this processed crap.
Yeah, and that causes inflammation, which is pretty much the root of all diseases we have.
Yeah, sugar is so bad for the inflammation. So how did you get started down this road? What made you become this nutrition, fitness, yogi guru gal?
Well, I battled with my own health issues. I was always that overweight child playing the piano while my friends were playing sports. And it wasn't until I went into, well, that's why I wanted to become a nutritionist. I wanted the answers. And so I went to see dietitians very young, and I actually ended up gaining weight, and I was just so upset. And I found a sports dietitian from University of Calgary, Kellyanne Carter, and the weight came off like that. And I still use this pretty much the same recommendations. And I was just so empowered, and I wanted to learn as much as I could. So I went to university and I started running marathons, and I'd been teaching fitness classes since 1991 or 92. So fitness has always been from there on like a big part of my life with my weight loss journey. And even well, growing up as a figure skater, riding horses, which led to back surgery later on, which how I got into Pilates. So it's been, quite the magic carpet ride to get to where I am, reinventing myself several times in the industry to stay relevant. And fitness and nutrition are such dynamic industries. There's always something to learn. There's always something to share. And I think that's what has piqued my interest and kept me in it for so long. And I come from a family, my sister has type 1 diabetes. She had breast cancer. Mom has the blood pressure issues. Dad had chronic lymphatic cancer. And I look back, even though my grandfather lived to be 104 and smoked a pack of cigarettes every day, I don't remember him smoking, but he grew up on the farm, and I spent most of my childhood growing up on farms. But these days we're under 100 times more stress than our ancestors are. So, but the good news is that, it's called epigenetics. Your genes don't have to be your destiny. So there's a lot of things that we can do to keep those genes turned off, so we decrease that risk of becoming sick. But so because I'm exposed to so many other things like the electronics and different stresses than my ancestors were exposed to, I'm not going to base my genes on the longevity. So I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I don't come across those same issues.
You kind of have a lot going on with that too. I mean, you work in the fitness industry, you have a real job which is involved in the fitness industry. You do your training. Now you have this new 30-day program. I mean, so you're, I mean, deep into the fitness lifestyle, deep into the fitness world. Where do you see this going from here? I mean, do you want to like take these 30-day programs and really blow that up, or do you like I think you said you did retreats or you did conventions and things like that to teach that to the corporate world. I mean, is that what you want to continue to do?
Well, I'm going to be into corporate wellness. I've kind of never left that arena, and I really love it. I was a wellness coordinator for a company called Arbitech, and they were very, very young, successful entrepreneurs. I think I always had like 5 years on these kids. And coming from Canada, Sunday for me was my biggest workout, batch cooking for the week, cleaning my own car, doing my own laundry, coming, from Calgary in Canada, coming to Irvine, where these kids, well, not kids, they were in their early 30s, and they were going to Vegas and partying every weekend. And then there was Sunday fun day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you people can't buy out. So it was my 7th year with them, and I said, we're not doing New Year's resolutions. I'm over it. We're not doing it. So I said, we're going to have a Triple Crown challenge, and you have to go through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Let's see who can go through those without gaining weight. And, being young and competitive and very successful, the bets started going. And my biggest success story was a fellow who worked in the warehouse, and he lost over 30 pounds over the holidays and kept it off. And it was
Wow.
his mindset. Like, there's always going to be a reason for the season, a reason to indulge, maybe the day ends and why. There's always something going on. So how do you navigate through that where you're not anxious? Like, I can go out anywhere and not worry about am I going to eat that piece of cake, or I'm going to have dessert? it doesn't even faze me anymore because I cut sugar out so long ago. Um, so when I tell that to people, sometimes they can't imagine what that feels like. And now that, because thinking about if you're going out to an event and how much am I going to have to drink? Am I going to drink? What am I going to eat? That takes up a lot of prime real estate in your head, and it takes up a lot of energy figuring that out. So just, if you can learn the habits and release all of that and go through those events, because they're always going to be there with ease, it makes life so much easier and enjoyable.
Drinking is such a habit. When I drink, I stopped drinking just because I'm married to someone who doesn't drink. So I'm like, shit, screw it. If you don't drink, I won't drink, whatever. Um, and then I realized, like, you get home from work, you go to the fridge, you get a beer, or like when I'd go up to the cabin, I would, I love to cook, right? So I'd get my stuff ready to cook. I would open up a bottle of wine. I'd have a glass of wine while I was cooking, and have a glass of wine with, it was part of the process, and like when you think of holiday functions or business functions or, after work functions, it just automatically revolves around alcohol for some reason, right? It's like, well, it doesn't have to.
Right. But it's just so socially acceptable. And it's the only drug where we have to make an excuse for not doing. And, I have fun with it when I'm not drinking. If I go out, it was, I think not too long ago, there was two functions back to back, and I'm with my executive committee, and we're at the Omni, and they're like, don't you want a glass of wine? I'm like, no, I'm good. And after, being asked about 3 or 4 or 5 times, I said, I could be pregnant. Maybe I'm pregnant. And then everyone just shut up,
I,
And,
I just like to tell people, no, I don't really want a glass of wine. I'm going to shoot up some heroin. You want some?
right. I'm gonna go have a joint.
Right. And then they'd be like, well, that's insane. I'm like, well, what? I don't know. I'm going to do that. You want to do that? I don't know. It makes sense to me. Um, what, what's corporate wellness? I mean, you talk about you're involved with corporate wellness. You do corporate wellness. What does that mean? What's corporate wellness even mean?
So when I go into businesses, or even I've done several presentations with Marriott employees and executives, I look at how can I make their employees healthier? How can they become more productive? How can they become less sick? How can you save money on health benefits because your team is healthier and more productive and happier at work? And that really, that has really paid off for the companies for sure that I've been working with.
So are you getting people to exercise? Are you trying to get them to look at their diets? Are you what is it and what does it involve? Do you have meetings with these people? Do you do
So I have a company in Canada that I work with every Friday morning, and I'm on a Zoom call with their team of 200 people. And a lot of these people are registered up for the 30-day jumpstart, and it's a new company for myself. So we start with topics. We start talking about sleep. And then with the Zoom calls, I see all their questions in the chat, and I get to know like what's important to them and how can I assist them? What are you doing for movement? So it's just I want to empower them to start making those changes, to start today, and to see where their health can take them. So it's just educating them on, again, sugar. Like my three pillars are sleep, protein, and strength.
sleep,
Protein.
protein, and strength?
A lot of people don't get it. Most of the population doesn't get enough protein in. And the RDA is way, way too low. I think it's for women like 60 or 70 grams of protein is way too low. So if you start your day with protein and fat, that's going to satiate you. That's going to light your brain up on fire with those neurotransmitters, eating those healthy proteins and fats. And it's going to cut the cravings down. But if you start your day with that healthy muffin that doesn't exist, or that glass of orange juice, sugar, 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 you're going to be craving sugar all day long. So you,
So I don't go to Starbucks because their coffees taste burnt, and I don't like to be looked down upon. But when I want a cup of coffee, but when I did go to a couple times when you go to Starbucks and someone in front of you takes 10 minutes to order a frappalapi jumbo son of a this with half calf extra mocha frappuccino,
with
and you just go,
cream.
Dude, I just want a cup of coffee, bro. So, I mean, people don't even, do they even consider the amount of fat, calories, sugar inside that thing first thing in the morning they're pumping into their body?
No, no, it's funny that you mentioned that drink because when I did a presentation, I was in the San Diego Marriott, and I was going to take that slide out of the presentation. Like, who's drinking that anymore? Sure enough, I stop at Starbucks. The guy in front of me orders that drink, and then at the Westin, I was waiting in line, and Jose. Oh, I should mention names. You can. Jose.
We don't, there's a lot of Jose's. We're gonna be
Right, right.
okay.
So
We're
you know
gonna be
what
all
I
right
do?
on this
So
one.
then he was ordering before our stand-up meeting. So on the computer, I'm like, Jose, do you realize that there's 12 teaspoons of sugar in that beverage? That's what you're starting your day with. You're only allowed 9. So you're done for the day. You're done for the next 2 days. So people don't realize, and that's why, children are that they get the most, they get sick the most amount of times, Halloween and Easter, because of all the sugar. Immune system goes down, then they go to the doctors.
Well,
So
and it doesn't help that they go to school with a Lunchable, and the Lunchable has a can of Coke, a
I know,
Skittles,
I know.
something that's supposed to be turkey and cheese, but we're not quite sure if it is, and crackers.
And it's
So,
really sad because those foods are so heavily subsidized by the government that it's cheap and people are going that route. Even though fast food is not that cheap anymore, um, food's expensive and they have to get creative. And really, it's important to not spend that extra money on soda pop. Unfortunately, the pop is cheaper than the water. So there's definitely a bigger issue, but if I can encourage people to make food at home as much as they can, because when they're not going out, they're not exposed to those rancid fats like the chips with the salsa, those types of things. You can control the inflammation for the long run. Your less chance of getting sick is greater.
it's so frustrating that 3 bean and cheese burritos full of who knows what are $1, and a fruit cup is $95. It's like, wait a minute, this is not making sense to me. Why is a fruit cup so expensive and all this other processed garbage is so inexpensive? But I will challenge anyone because I hate that excuse, and I don't like to use the word hate. I rarely use the word hate. I strongly dislike that argument. We go out to eat for fast food because it's too expensive to eat at home. I say, dude, you go get a Costco chicken and I can reprocess that thing into 3 meals. All right. We got dinner, then we have next day lunch, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it just takes effort to
Yes.
eat healthy and affordably. I mean, yeah, everything's ridiculously expensive, but still, you can no longer use we eat fast food because we can't afford to eat healthy food as an excuse. You just can't use it
Um,
anymore. It's laziness.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. I
Don't
mean,
hate me because I'm saying the truth.
no, it's right on. I'm going to do a video on that. How much does it cost to go to In-N-Out versus actually buying a pound of grass-fed ground beef and making it at home?
Okay, wait, wait, wait. We're going to edit that out too because In and Out doesn't count. All right, if you do In and Out once a month, you got to think 80-20 rule, right? I mean, at least, 80-20 rule. We're going to edit out In and Out because that's sacred. Um, my wife's an In and Outer. So, but you're right. You go to McDonald's and you get a Happy Meal for the kids and you get a Big Mac with fries and a Coke and the wife gets 2 cheeseburgers and you go, well, that only costs us $35 now, right? Because it's expensive now at McDonald's. You take
Mhm.
that same $35, trust me, you can make an amazing, healthy dinner and have leftovers. You just can. You can't say that you can't. So before I cut you off, I'm sorry, I got emotional about the In and Out. So are you saying you're going to do a video on that?
Yes. So I'm going to go around to these fast food places and then I'm going to go to Costco or go somewhere else and show how you can create a healthy meal. Like you had a great example with the rotisserie chicken. You can do a free range rotisserie chicken for $12 and you can get 4 or 5 meals out of it. I do an avocado, mango, and chicken salad. And then I'll use the rest of the chicken for a chicken noodle soup made with coconut milk and bone broth. So it just takes a little bit more time. And once you get used to eating that way, you're not going to want to go back. I can't remember the last time I had fast food because it just doesn't taste good to me. And I know what that food will do to my body, eating those inflammatory fats, because they actually stay in your body for the next 3 months.
Ugh. But and
Mhm.
it's the same way with sugar. Once you get off of sugar, it tastes really bad.
Yeah.
When you go, well, I haven't had sugar for a while. I'll try a piece of this, and you go, ah, that tastes horrible. You don't even want to eat it anymore.
Your taste buds change. And I remember when I first started my career and I was eating, remember that the fruit bottom sweetened yogurt and you had to mix it around and then trying to get onto the plain
Yeah,
cars. So, and then I had my clients, start combining the yogurts together and then they wean themselves off and then they were fine with the plain and then sweetening it with like real blueberries. And then they go back to the other one and they can't even handle it because it's way too sweet.
yeah. One of my favorite go-tos is Greek yogurt, whole Greek yogurt, whole milk, no non-fat crap. Give me the whole milk Greek yogurt with blueberries and cinnamon sprinkled on it.
Mm.
That's my go-to yummy snacky snack. The other day I made it real quick and uh Trader Joe's is sneaky and their cinnamon looks a lot like cayenne pepper and I use cayenne pepper in my vegetable shakes in the morning. So I'm not paying attention. I just sprinkle cayenne pepper all over my blueberries and yogurt and
Oh no.
I'm like, you know what, buddy? You don't waste food, bro. You're just gonna have to suck it up. And I like sweet hot combo, so it wasn't that bad, but
Good for you.
it was a little fiery. Yeah,
I
I do a vegetable shake in the morning and I put all sorts of gross stuff in it. And the only one that'll eat it is my son Zachy. He's the only one who'll drink it with me. And I get my wife drinking it, and she drinks it now too. Before I put all the weird stuff in it, but it's so easy. I mean that shake. If you break down the cost of what that shake is, so it's like 32 ounces of vegetable shake.
Mhm.
And it's a carrot, it's celery, it's cucumber, it's a beet, it's arugula, or whatever else crazy thing, pineapple I want to put in there that day and it's way less than a Starbucks Frappa Lapa Mappuccino thingy majiggy, right? It's way less, and it's so much better for you. And you're pumped up after drinking that thing. You have energy more than you would from drinking that massive sugar high and then crashing.
Right, right. And like when I juice in the morning, it's like an IV of nutrients going right into my system. It just feels so good. It's like my whole body just sucks it up.
Yeah, and it's just effort. It's just effort. That's all. So what are you going to do with this 30-day program now? Now I'm interested in this. Let's go back to this 30-day program. So we get the link. You're going to send us every day for 30 days. You're going to we're going to fall out of bed. We don't even have to get out of bed. We just fall out of bed. We flop on the floor. We're going to start stretching and we're going to do movement and we're going to do our core. You're going to set us some meditation stuff. Is there nutrition stuff in there too? I don't know if you said that one earlier.
Yeah. So around week 2, we dive into that. But week 1 is definitely laying down the foundation of the whole thing. It's just getting your mindset in the proper place to start this.
Hmm. My meaning what? Meaning to just start getting into the fitness again, getting into the movement, getting into the stretching, eating properly, working on your sleep and things like that.
I think I'm establishing your why because motivation doesn't get us anywhere. Why do you want to change? Like what is your goal? How important that is that to you? Is it so you can be around for your children? Is it so you can be more productive? Um, so you can fit into those clothes that you haven't been wearing in a long time. Are you training for a race? Like really establishing your why and putting that in front of you and maybe sharing that with people so that when the cravings come around or motivation is low, which it will be at the end of the day, that why is strong and you'll stick with it. And then, I've the power of journaling. I think I have here's my journals. I've been journaling for years. And, my favorite journal is the Passion Planner. So, these journals are like the roadmap to my success, what's working, what's not working. Um, what accomplishments have I made? And I celebrate my wins and I learned from my mistakes. So, and it also helps decrease stress if you journal too.
Yeah,
And
my wife and I are big journalists. We have journals laying all over the house, and it's like when I see a really cool one, like a really cool leather one with like parchment paper and stuff, I'm like, ooh, I got to get that. And my wife be like, dude, you got like 18 journals. I'm like, yeah, but
but
you fill them up, right? You're always going to need another one if you live long enough. And like you said, I mean, having a journal by your bed, and when something's keeping you up, put it down on paper. Get it out of your brain and put it down on paper because, like you said, you can't address it at that moment. Um,
like when
I
I'm
took a stand-up comedy class a long time ago, and that guy got me started doing that. And I
working,
didn't really think about that, even though I do journal at night, before you go to bed. Some people journal in the morning. Um, but he said, your best jokes are going to happen in the middle of the night and sleep. And so don't try to remember them. Have a pen and paper there. And when you think of something funny, get up and write it down. Otherwise, it's just going to keep you up all night. You're going to be working on that stupid joke all night and not getting any sleep. So that's when I started putting that pen and paper by the bed. And it works. It really does.
it's the same thing when I work out in the morning, whether I'm doing a 10,000-meter row or I'm on my bike. I always have a pen and paper down because when I work out, it just releases those endorphins and the ideas just flow out of me. And so when I take my water break, I just write the idea down. It's just incredible what comes to you when you're working out. And that's why I think I started the day with movement, core and stretching, because it just sets your mind up for the rest of the day. I know, like for 30 years, I've sweat every day. I guarantee you for 30 years. And some days I've taught 3 classes or 5 fitness classes, training for marathons. So I have that really large base of training. And that's really set my mind up. So if I working out is like medicine for me. People know if I don't get my workout in, my trifecta is cold, tired, hungry. And combined, no workout, nobody wants to be around me. So even like especially when I go home to see mom and dad, bless their little hearts, I'm always like, okay, which gym is new? Which gym is still open? Excuse me for the first thing in the morning, but I have to go get this workout done or else no one's going to want to be around me today.
Yeah, you don't want to be around me when I get the hangries. I have
Right.
a bad habit of not eating. I'm just not an eater. I don't know. I eat because I have to eat. I'm just not a foodie type of guy. Um, but if I forget and all of a sudden it's like 3 in the afternoon and the hangries kick in and it is not pretty, my friend. You don't want to be, I get grumpy and I
Yes.
get the hangries. I get it. How
Doesn't
do
have
you've put some serious mileage in on the old bod ski there. How do you keep yourself from breaking down? I mean, us old guys, I've got to restart now because I missed 2 years of my life with something, and so I've got to restart. For me, it'll be easy because I love to exercise, so it won't be a challenge. But I mean, for some of us old guys and old gals, have had some wear and tear. How do you keep yourself from breaking down?
Well, I broke down. I broke down when I had just finished my job at Lululemon. I had no job, I had no healthcare insurance, and I needed back surgery.
Ow.
Yeah. And the doctor said, well, I said to him, I can go home to Canada and get it for free. He's like, you're not going to last. So it was all those years of horseback riding, figure skating, falling on the ice, and then marathon running. And he goes, I'm surprised you haven't been here sooner. So I think it was 36 in denial. And I went to every modality I could. And finally, this physical therapist said, I know your doctor. He wouldn't operate if he didn't need to. So had the back surgery in the US. It was amazing. I was so fortunate. And then I reinvented myself again. So that's when I started Pilates and doing the water rowing and TRX.
Doing the water what?
Water rowing. So in my studio, I had rowers that were filled with water. So it kind of get
Oh,
one of the first ones out there. So it kind of get that feel of and sound of being on the water. We did a 10,000-meter row class every Tuesday morning in Laguna Beach. And I had collegiate rowers. Some were like, they were in their 50s and 60s. Some were, 6'4" and then 5'9". So it was really competitive and so much fun. So, and every time you row, it's doing a leg press, a hip hinge, and an upright row. So I built that endurance back on my back and then doing cycling. So no more high impact, no more running. And even if I could run today, I wouldn't because it just breaks your body down. But I think there's so many ways to move your body. you have to find what works for you, what's going to be fun. Even if you go for a walk and have hand weights in your hands, or, you see a park bench and you stop and you do dips or you do step ups, have a partner. So there's just so many different ways to move your body. And I think with that program, people are going to learn more ways to move your body. And that's going to grow into another 3-month program. So, and also I have videos on YouTube for stretching and core classes and bar classes. So, being in the industry for all these years, you see a lot. And what's stuck now with me is Pilates. And even being at this resort, I had a lot of men in my classes, and we did the TRX training, and I didn't tell them they were doing Pilates. I just renamed it. Instead of the mermaid, it was the merman. And, you know, 2 months later, they're like, wow, our backs aren't sore anymore. We can golf, we can drive that ball further and it's straighter, and oh, Pilates, but they didn't want to hear it at the time. So it's all in the delivery. And if you find something that you enjoy doing, keep doing it. Don't force yourself, or it's just not going to work. But start with something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do yoga, but I just like to wear the pants because it makes my butt look great. But but I know now getting back into the exercise that I've got to do, I liked to work to lift a lot of weights. I mean, that's just what I liked to do. It's just my mentality, right? But now I realize I've got to go lighter weight, higher rep, different types of lifting, more body movement lifting, sandbags and different type of stretching and things like that, instead of just hammering out the bench, hammering out the, squats and something like that. Um, and I know a lot of people who do Pilates and just swear by them. They just think that it's amazing.
But strength training is really critical. Muscle is our longevity of life. And it's really important to strength train and lift heavy weights. For me, with my back, I don't do like the Smith machine for the squats. I'm on a leg press machine. So I really still have to be careful of my back. But I'm in the gym, back to 3 days a week, doing that hour of strength training. And then I wait and do my cardio afterwards. So I've really bumped up the strength training as I've gotten older, for sure. Because we
Yeah, I
need.
mean, it's so much better for your bones. People don't realize that weight training is great for your bones. That it gets in there, the bone marrow and stuff, and strengthens your bones, not just your muscles, your tendons, the whole kit and caboodle on that. 10,000 meters is a long way to row. How the hell long does it take you to row 10,000 meters?
41 minutes, between 41 and 43 minutes. And that's moving.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's way moving. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought for sure
that
you're
was
going to say
tough.
over an hour. I would
Um,
absolutely die. I'd get to about 1,000 and just die. I did I was in really good shape, believe it or not. And then a friend invited me to go to Orange Therapy or something like that, it's called. And so, you move from one thing to the next thing to the next thing and the next thing. So I'm just like killing this thing. I'm like, please. First of all, I work outside. I work out outside naked. I hate to be in a gym. I love to be outside. I don't care how hot it is, how cold it is. I work out naked. I don't care. I love the sun and I love to be outside. I have to work outside. So I'm in this dark orange room, which immediately turns me off. I'm like, I do not like this room. But I go, okay, I'm going to kill this thing because I'm in great shape. So I'm blowing through all the stuff until I got on the rower. I got on the rower and I'm just flying, right? I'm just like, and all of a sudden the room starts spinning. I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm in trouble here. So I got up, I went out of the room and I was going to go outside, but it was, of course, July and it was like 109 degrees. I go, nope, maybe I won't go outside. But I'm like, I really should not have pushed that rower. I hadn't been on a rower machine and it
oh,
was unbelievably difficult. I was shocked with
look
all
at
the
that.
stuff I could normally do, how difficult the rowing machine was. It's like, wow, that was tough. 10,000 meters, just like, no, I'm not going there.
I,
How often do you do 10,000 meters?
um, well, I used to do 10,000 meters about 3 times a week. And now I do 10 miles 10 to 12 miles on my Schwinn bike one day. And then I'll do the 10,000 meters, twice a week now. But because I couldn't run after the back surgery, I thought I'm going to compete in a rowing competition. And in my age group, It was like, it's 1,000, how fast can you do 1,000 meters in for rowing? And I think this is when I had my studio in Laguna Beach. And I thought, I'm just going to sit down and see where I'm at right now. And I think I did the 1,000 meters in like 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Normally, if you can do it in like over four, around four is pretty good. And I had to cut 10 more seconds out of that. And I got off that rower. I drove, so that took me about, less than 4 minutes, right, of intense sprints. I went to Whole Foods. I literally in Fashion Island, I was in Whole Foods for not even 5 minutes. I was so out of it. I had to use my alarm on my car to find it. I was just so out of it. Anyone says they don't have time to work out, give me 4 minutes with them and they'll be done.
No kidding, right? It's like, yeah, forget 10-minute, Tony Horton 10-minute workout thing. No, no, no.
And on
Four,
that rower.
4 minutes on that rowing machine. Honest to God, I was flying because, they put your time up there on the thing in Orange Theory, and I was feeling great. I had already killed the treadmill and the weights. I was like, run. And then I hit that treadmill, and I'll tell you what, I was like, wow, because it felt great. I loved the movement of it. And then when you find that rhythm, you can really fly. I mean, that rhythm feels great. And it's such a whole body exercise. I mean, you're using your toes all the way up to your earlobes,
Yeah.
when you're doing the rowing. And that's why I love swimming so much. Swimming just uses every part of your body and such low impact. Swimming is kind of my go-to for to get back in shape is just swimming for me. But
I wish I loved swimming. My first year of university, I think I started university at 26, and I'm going to do an Ironman. So signed up for adult learn to swim lessons for a semester. And the coach says, "Well, when is your Ironman?" I said, "Well, it's, next July." He goes, you might be able to do it." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was mortified. He made me put my face in the water day one. And so I'm swimming along and I'm just not a good swimmer and I'm afraid of the water. So that doesn't help.
yeah.
And I do a bit of a swim and then I go running. I'm like, this is way too hard. I'm just going to run marathons. So I wish I love swimming because yes, it's so great, but that's not in my genes.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't do it because it makes it just that much harder to do something that's already hard. I mean, you've got to love it, and that's why I love to exercise. I love to work out. I love to lift weights. I just don't like to do it in a gym. I just can't stand the gym. I don't like it. I don't like people, and then I don't like the whole thing of the gym, and I don't like people sitting there texting while they're sitting on an apparatus I want to use and sweating all over it. I'm like, dude, seriously? Just wipe your sweat, all right, bro? It's just ridiculous. It's
I
disgusting.
think I've been very fortunate, over these years having access to my own fitness studio and other studios where there hasn't been anybody around. And then having my equipment at home and always having that motivation to get up and get that first workout in, have my coffee, then there's my fitness equipment. You never see clothes hanging from it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, listen, kiddo, this hour just flew by. I mean, this is a really great topic. I just love health. I love fitness. I love what you're doing with your 30-day program. Um, Obviously, we'll put that on the podcast so people can see it and reach out to it and reach out to you, your email, your website. We'll put all that on the web page. But just why we have you, though, how can people reach you if people say, "Oh, I want to try that"? How can people reach you?
Um, my email address for sure, ykosel@gmail.com, if you can put that in the link. And then I'll let you, if you want to cut this out, I'm going to have my link up by the time
Hmm.
the podcast airs. So
Yay.
the link by the time it airs for them to go right to that. I've been changing platforms. I have a member up platform, so it's like I can send them the link. Or
When you get it, you send it to me and we'll put it on there. How about that? We'll
okay,
just make it real easy.
okay, and then also you can find me on Instagram under Yvonne Kohsel Health Strategist, and that's where a lot of my content lives for my cooking videos, my health talks, and then the YouTube channel, which is longer versions of the health talks and the fitness classes.
And is the YouTube just your name? The YouTube channel is your name?
Mhm.
Right on. We'll have all that on there too. So, yeah, you've been great. Yeah, this is wonderful. We are so freaking unhealthy in this country. I mean, it's just the most bizarre thing. We're the richest country in the world. We have so much abundance, yet we're just, the kids are overweight, the adults are overweight, people aren't eating right, our food is poisoned. It's craziness, right?
I think the stat is we make up 8% of the world population and we consume about 80% of the drugs.
Pharma, man, big pharma loves it. Big for
Hopefully,
government loves big pharma. Government loves big pharma, right?
there's no
Push.
money in people being healthy.
Yeah. So I open up with always open up with my first question, which is the what if you could question.
Mhm.
And then I close with one more question. I told you I didn't write down questions and I don't. I almost forgot the what if you could if you didn't remind me.
Mhm.
I'm snowboarding. Come on, I'm on vacation. Um so I always ask my guests the last question. And the last question is if there was something you could leave our guests with, a thought, a quote, something that means something to Yvonne that goes, this is something that means something to me that I'd like to share with everybody. What would that last thought be?
That's a great question. That's so many quotes, my goodness.
It could
I
just be a thought that you have, a feeling
think
that you have, something that's important to you.
I think when I share with my followers and my clients, self-acceptance is a prerequisite for change.
Would you repeat that?
Self-acceptance is the prerequisite for change. So if you can stand in the mirror, naked, not naked, and not say an unkind word to yourself, be kind to yourself and be patient. Give yourself space and grace in this journey. We're looking for not perfection, but for progress.
I love that. I love that. And we just need to be so much kinder to ourselves. There's no such thing as perfection, and there's no such thing as a perfect body, and there's no specific body image. There's no all of this marketing crap and what they make people believe they have to look at and what they have to do themselves to get that is just so sad. I mean, there just isn't. I mean, if you're healthy and you're at your body's optimal what it's supposed to be, whatever that is, then you're healthy. And it doesn't matter what you look like naked in front of the mirror, right? You just need to be healthy. It's about longevity and not being sick, right?
Yes. Yeah. You want to stay out of the hospitals as much as you can.
And you want to stay off all these drugs. I mean, you look at the drug commercials,
Oh,
and my wife and I just laugh because it seems like every other commercial. We don't watch a lot of TV because we don't have TV at the house, but up at the cabin we have TV, and it's like every other commercial is a drug commercial.
I used to count. I used to count how many drug commercials in between, and I don't have a television anymore either, but I think it was like eight or nine, and they play this beautiful music, but then all the side effects are listed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this
Well, the best part is they're all dancing around with balloons and unicorns, and children are laughing, and the whole world's happy. And then the description underneath will cause anal bleeding. You will die of cancer. Your lungs will collapse. I mean, and
they
people
look
like,
all
whoopee, you got, and at the end of the commercial, go, what the hell was that for? I don't even know what
the
what the drug was for.
right, exactly. So, food is medicine, sleep is vaccines. So I think I will always have a job. And it's not a,
Yes.
I'm very passionate. I love what I do.
Well, Yvonne Kohsel, you will make us all healthy. And when you're healthy, you're happy. And when you're healthy and happy, you're sexy. And when you're sexy, you're loving and you feel good. And just things are better when you're healthy. They just are.
Yes.
Everything's just better when you're physically and mentally healthy. So thank you for what you're doing for everyone. I appreciate what you're doing. Let's get the word out more and more. Hell, you've been doing it for 30 years. I know you know what you're doing.
I've
All
seen a
right,
couple
my friend. Everybody, that was Yvonne Kohsel. Please look for her on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. She's got her 30-day program coming out. We're going to put all these links on the podcast so you could track her down and you could glow like she does and be healthy. And let's extend our lives. It's a good thing. So,
You, Gary.
Yvonne, thank you so much, kiddo. I appreciate you being here. And thanks, everybody. Look for the next episode of the What If You Could podcast. And everyone say goodbye to Yvonne. Bye, Yvonne.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was it. That hour just flew by, huh?
I know. Oh, you're so easy to talk to.
Yeah. Well, I just thought well, I kind of talked a little bit more than I usually do, but it's a topic that's really close to my heart. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to engage with you on something that means a lot to me, and and I just love what you're doing with the 30-day program. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. I loved your last question.
Yeah, it's funny. I tell people ahead of time I'm going to ask the what if you could question, but I never tell anybody ahead of time because I don't want them to think about it. I just
Right.
want it to come. And it's amazing some of the things that come out of people, like you with your comment there. It catches people off guard usually, but I think it leaves people with a good sense of how you care. You know what I mean? It wasn't scripted. It wasn't something you
Right.
thought about ahead of time. And like they say, when people, what's the saying? People know how much you care. They don't care what you care. I don't, you
You
know
know,
the thing.
yeah, until they know how much until they know how much you care about them. People don't care until you know how much they care about you.
Yes. Oh my God. Is that a Goldie?
Lily, she's a little white lab.
Oh, white lamb.
And
Oh.
then Stevie, come here, Stevie, come here, come here. And then this is Seawis. Bonnie and Clyde. I'm shocked that they stay quiet for so long because it's time for the dinner.
Well, I'll let you get to their dinner.
All
And
right.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this.
Mhm.
I send it to you just as it is raw. And then you do with it whatever you want. I mean, if you want to put it on one of your platforms, go ahead. But then I send it to my production crew, and if there's places just to edit things, not during the podcast, we leave that alone, but the beginning or
One
the
part.
end,
Like the
except
one.
that one part.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, except the one part.
Um, and then we put the opening with your pictures and your bio, and then at the end we put your links and stuff, and then I'll let you know when that's going to go up too.
Wonderful. Well,
Cool.
thank you. Thank you so much. And let me know if there's anything I can do for you, or, if you're in town, grab a cup of organic coffee, or
There
maybe
you
a
go. Well,
row.
maybe we'll
We'll do
do
a
an
row.
Maybe we'll do no more no 10,000 rows. But maybe we'll do a follow-up in a month and let's see how that 30-day program worked out and what you're going to do next. Maybe we could do
Do you
something
want to
like that.
be, do you want to be a part of it?
No.
Okay. Are
And
you
I'll tell you,
sure? Are you sure?
no, and yeah, and the reason why is because I'm a horrible follower of stuff. I have
Okay.
4 apps that people have given me. One is a sleep app called Breathwork in Bed, where it
Oh,
helps you get to bed, and if you wake up, helps you get back to sleep, and then it monitors your sleep thing. I haven't even downloaded it yet. It gave it to me for free, and I've got 2 other exercise programs and a nutrition program. I just can't follow stuff like that. It doesn't
got it.
work in my brain. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I have my way my body works, my biorhythms. I can't do that stuff.
That's okay.
It's
I'll
horrible.
tell you all about it when we're done.
Yes, and that I want to know. I want to know that, and maybe we'll even get someone to come on as a success story and join us.
Well, that would be fun.
Right? Someone who just knocked it out of the park, but they only get like 5 minutes, and we get the rest of the time.
Great. Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy Big Bear and the
You
hike.
know I will. Thank you so much, and have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Gary.
All
Thank
right,
you.
kiddo. Thank you. All
Bye.
right, bye. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.